Welcome to Disturbing the Peace. I'm your host, John Amanchukwu, coming to you live from Wi-Fi Studios. What happens when truth becomes offensive and appearances matter more than principles? Today, Stacy Washington joins me for a timely conversation on some of the biggest stories driving the national debate. We'll break down AOC's viral rally speech, the growing push to normalize Black English in America's classrooms, and two controversial decisions from a Virginia school superintendent that raised serious questions about hiring, accountability, and the priorities shaping public education. All here today on Disturbing the Peace.
From heaven, there's too much at stake to be quiet. Let's disturb the peace. Me and you, let's disturb the peace. With John Amanchukwu, disturb the peace.
Joining me now on Disturbing the Peace is my good friend, Stacy Washington, who needs no introduction. Stacy, welcome to Disturbing the Peace.
Thanks for having me back, John.
Likewise, it's a joy to have you on the show. The audience loves you because of all of your hot takes, and you always do it with a biblical world view. So thank you for joining the show. Let's get into this early. I don't want to call her an enemy because we should view people as opportunities and not as enemies, even though we disagree with these people. But AOC went to Tennessee for a Memphis rally for Justin Pearson, a.k.a. T-Moo Malcolm X, all right? And she begins to speak with a new phraseology and form, a new accent, a new tone, a new tenor. And so I want to show you this clip right here. Take a look at this.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind.
You better thank a union member.
Here comes Kamala doing it.
5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
All right, listen, okay, listen.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy.
All right, so we've seen this skit before. AOC says we cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind. There is no country where we are split apart. Stacy, what was your first reaction watching this clip?
Well, when I saw AOC, I saw the clip yesterday, and I said, oh, wow, it's AOC channeling Hillary, but without the Tabasco sauce in her purse. She just came, straight from Hillary's house over to adopt the accent. But John, can I just say, it is actually really endearing when you're around people from the South and you kind of adopt a little bit of their twang, a word or two here or there, and you're doing it for fun. You're in jest and they're smiling and laughing, and so are you. And they'll even say, oh, you almost sound like you're from here. You want to be down here. You want to live here. I know this because I have a lot of family in Tennessee. And when I was a kid over the summer, my sister and I, 3 summers in a row, we went back to the States. My dad was stationed in Germany. My mom and dad came back to the States, spent 2 weeks on vacation, and then left us for the summer. And by the end of the summer, we would come back speaking like down home Tennesseans. And my mom was determined that we would have no accents at all because she felt it would be great for us career-wise going forward in the future. And so she would give us about a week to lose it. And if we were still talking like that the next week, she would I would say, mama, da-da-da-da. And she would just keep looking straight ahead like she hadn't heard anything. And I would come over and I'd touch on the shoulder and say, don't you hear me? She said, no, I can't understand a word you said. And I had to snap back. If I needed something from her, I had to say it in proper English for her to respond. So, I mean, that's just a tip from my mom to your, that if you want to change your children's speech, don't answer when they speak in ways you don't understand. They start yelling 6, 7, you can just immediately not respond and they will stop. But I mean, for these people, they're politicians. And so there's a layer of it's pandering, right? It's pandering. And also it's only to Black people. She doesn't adopt a heavy Mexican accent when she's in Brooklyn or any place where Hispanics are heavily concentrated. She doesn't adopt a high-born WASP accent when she's in the Northeast, right? They have a certain way that they speak up there. And it kind of indicates their class and where they come from and that they are not just regular people. I've never heard her adopt that. So we know she gets donations from people in Martha's Vineyard. She doesn't speak like she's from there. So what is the reason why she only has to do it around Black people? And it centers on their thought that we as Black people can identify with your ideas. We can only identify with the surface of what you're presenting. So you need to be Black in your presentation for Hillary Clinton. Because we go to churches where our pastors are more demonstrative and they're louder and they're more, they want a response, then that's the way we are everywhere. As if we can't be in church and understand the message from our pastor presented in one fashion and then be in a political setting and hear someone speak to us in an intelligent way and also identify with that and understand it. We're just one channel people, which is so ridiculous because if anybody has more than one channel, it's Black people. And so I think it's an indication of just how far the Democrat Party has not come, that a young woman like AOC, who should never fall into this trap because she's young. She's from a generation that purportedly understands this about Black people, that has real Black friends. She comes from the generation of people who claim that not only do they not see color, they're marrying outside of their ethnic background. Their community is diverse. So if that's true, then AOC must know someone like me who I almost never, as in less than 1%, speak in the vernacular. So she must know Black women like me because I'm not the only one. I've met women who I honestly felt like, wow, I need to go back to college because this Black woman is like, she's outclassing me in every way. Who is this woman? I want to be her best friend. So if there's that much variation just in my own personal circle, then certainly AOC has met women who don't speak in the vernacular and don't need to be talked to in an accent. And not everyone in Tennessee has an accent also. Just want to throw that out there. Nashville is a really diverse city. Like it's one of the most fastest growing cities in America. And so that means it's not full of people who speak with a country accent. What is she even doing? But it's just an indication of her lack of readiness, if you ask me. She's not ready.
So good. Hey, we're talking about AOC's new accent. We'll be right back after this break. Folks, let's face it. If you have distressed or defaulted private student loans, nobody is coming to bail you out. And bankruptcy is not an option. But you can take charge of your situation by contacting REVWUTRUTH. Can you imagine being debt-free and not living under this burden anymore? The first step is contacting REVWUTRUTH. If you go to REVWUTRUTH.com, you can read testimonials from other people who have been where you are and how they've escaped. You can even see what their monthly payments were versus what they are now. REVWUTRUTH offers a 3-minute rate check without any credit impact. Bad credit is accepted. Just call 888-REVWUTRUTH-85 or log on to REVWUTRUTH.com. That's YREFY.com. All right, so back to the Black scent, and we're going to get into an article in a little bit that you wrote about, but let's stick with the new AOC Black scent, okay? This isn't the first time a Democrat politician has been accused of this. Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton faced the same criticism. Why does this keep happening, and should Black people be turned off by this?
Well, John, I really think a lot of Black people are turned off by it. We saw a larger share of Black Americans voting for President Trump in 2024. And I think there is a sense of frustration, especially now that the Democrats are flirting with socialism, or I should say the socialists are taking over their party and they're not doing anything about it. Because AOC is a part of that takeover, right? AOC being on a podium anywhere, thinking she's going to run for the presidency under the banner of the Democrats is a true theft against that party. Just imagine, let's say, if John Fetterman decided he was going to be a Republican and came over and started as a Republican advocating for some of those far left ideas that are now the Democrats, or just plain old Democrat ideas, what Democrats used to be, which was regular Americans who loved God and country, who just thought they could make changes politically a different way. That's who Democrats used to be. So if John Fetterman came over and started advocating for that, people would immediately begin to say, okay, well, John, the thing is, the Republican Party platform is this. It's Agenda 47 this go round. But the ones before that were like book length dissertations, 80 pages, went through every single item or platform plank topically, explained each one from a historical perspective, and then why we have the current perspective. I mean, if you read the party platforms up until this last go round, they were well thought out, convincing documents. They're meant to, you're to read those, learn something, and then have a perspective that you can compare. This is very important for voters. It's very important for people who are new to the country, who want to choose a political party. So when I see the Democrats allowing socialists to come in and take advantage of their fundraising apparatus, which is robust even after the end of USAID, their network, their donor network, their email lists, their prodigious state-by-state representation. The DNC has offices in every city in America, the major cities. Why would they allow the socialists to come in and utilize that for free? Why don't they tell the socialists, if you want to be somebody, you have 135,000 people you've registered, go start the Socialism Party of America and build your own email list and do that. So what I want to see the Democrats do is defend their property. Don't allow an interloper to come in and take what they have already built. I don't agree with the Democrat Party platform. This isn't about me defending them, but as an entity, the Democrats are the natural counterbalance to Republicans, where socialists are just the stop-off point to Marxism and communism. So the end goal of socialists is always total control, not just, we just want the state to control the means of production. No, they want to abolish prisons. They want to abolish the ability to dial 911. They want to abolish the police. When you start talking like that's anarchy. They want to take over the Democrat Party and usher anarchy into America, which we now officially hold the title as being the best country on earth. The Germans said so. The Brits said so. The people from the Netherlands said so. Every European that came over the summer didn't want to leave, wanted to eat themselves into oblivion, and they loved walking into buildings and feeling like they were walking into a deep freeze at the back of a restaurant. They loved it. They're like, the Americans use too much aircon. Now they've been here and they've seen how hot it is in our country, and they understand why we use they call it aircon. We use AC because we have it, number one. And number two, because we need it because it stops people from dying of heat exhaustion. Also, for those of us who just don't like wilting, we enjoy the blast of cold air when we get in our car, when we walk into the Walmart, when we go in any place. If it feels cold after being in the 100 degrees outside, of course, this is the modern society that we've come to know and love. And everyone else loves it too. The Indians were singing our praises. Chinese have always sang our praises. That's why so many of them live here. So I wonder why the Democrats are allowing outsiders who want to destroy America to take over their party as a means of doing it. It's what do they call it? The Red-Green Alliance. Yes. It's the Muslims allying with the Marxist progressive communists. Like, whoever saw that coming? Because the Muslims throw gays off buildings and the gays are advocating for Hamas. So, I don't know what you call that cauldron of horribles over there, but what we're trying to do as Americans is maintain this heritage that God has given to us and pass it on to our kids and our grandkids. We're looking ahead to the future, the inheritance that you leave behind for your children. That, for us as Americans, is the heritage of the Judeo-Christian value set, the biblical worldview, and especially the system of government that was first given to Moses, that has been given to us through the founders, the old white, but young white. They were young, they weren't old. And they were white, yes, but they didn't have white hair. They wore wigs. They were young white guys who took a country by force from the superpower of their era and gave us this. We got to maintain it.
Well, when you think about these things, Stacy, Zoran Mamdani recently hinted towards, some communistic ideologies of potentially arresting possibly Bibi Netanyahu when he comes to the U.S. And so these are things that are common amongst Democrats. I believe they want socialism. I believe they want communism. And I think that they're using places like Tennessee and Memphis as a testing ground for these ideologies. And they're using people like AOC to try to cater to the baser nature of minorities to win us over by sound and not by principle or policy. What do you think about that?
You're right. So they've done that successfully before. That's how we got Joe Biden. That's how we got Barack Obama. That was the first election where the Democrats actually ran on vibes before vibes were a thing. We didn't even have vibes as like that's the vibe. Sure, we use the word, but not in its current context. The first vibes election was Obama. I'll never forget the pomp and circumstance of it that they created around him. They ran his campaign like it was a Hollywood television campaign. And he was Morgan Freeman. And his wife was Angela Bassett and the two beautiful daughters. And they had the flag billowing over his head as he walked in. And he's already a thin, tall man. And they set the camera at an angle so that he towered while walking under that flag. And the flag was actually billowing. And they took the stage together. And they were the perfect epitome of a family, not a Black family, a family. They were American. They transcended some of the previous barriers that existed between whites and Blacks. And it was that hope of this being the end of all of that people were riding on, not his credentials, not the things he said he would do, because all he said was hope and change. He never really said what he wanted to do. And so after that, you had, of course, the reason we had a President Trump is because we had a President Obama. And then after President Obama, then Trump, and then you have, inexplicably, the only thing that we can chalk that up to is that the Lord places the rulers, right? He decides who will be our rulers, and he turns the head of the leader, whichever way it would go. And that was a punishment on America. It was judgment, just like the Obama years. And so we saw the double-digit inflation and the foreigners being hired above us, the very epitome of the blessings and curses that you find in Deuteronomy.
Yes.
In Deuteronomy, it talks about the foreigner will be above you. He will lend to you and you will borrow from him. You will not lend, you will borrow, and he will have the jobs. I mean, it's very detailed in that. It was exactly what happened during the Biden years. And so here we are, we have Trump back, and the Democrats want to recreate. They've been searching for a candidate to recreate that mystique and aura of the Obama years, because that's all they have to run on. Their policies don't work. So they have to run on the aura, the looks, the vibes. And they've been casting around for someone because they realize they've lost white men, especially young white men, and they're losing Black men, right? They have a huge share of Black men who are just like, please, I'm successful. I can't be affiliated with this nonsense. And then you have the kind of weird allegiance that they have to the matriarchy. Their party is full of women who are leaders, and the men who are leaders are neutered, like Timu Obama, Hakeem Jeffries. He doesn't have any power. Like AOC is far more powerful than him. And now Mom Dummy is more powerful than him. Have you noticed that? Mom Dummy is a mayor, but he's more powerful than Hakeem Jeffries. He gets more press. People care about what his wife wears. I've never even seen Hakeem Jeffries' wife. Is he married? I don't know who she is. So the whole idea here is they want to recapture that mystique. And we have to be the adults. And I'm talking about every adult American who cares about making money and taking care of their family and being able to worship God in any way that you choose or not. Because remember, God doesn't make you choose him. He chooses us, but he doesn't make us choose him. We have free will. We don't have to worship God. But, there are consequences for not having a relationship. But that's on you. It's a personal decision. This is our mission, that we have to stay away from people who present only a facade to us without giving us any substance. We have to be grown up enough to understand that snake oil salesmen and con men and people who will steal your money and rob you blind and, break in your house and burn it down, those are the kind of people who they got the look. Mm-hmm. They have the silvery tongue. That's actually Satan's purview. He's the prince of the air. He's all about how things look. We have to be about what's underneath. What are you actually campaigning on? And then what are your previous results? Like, where were you elected before where you actually delivered results that you ran on? Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't done that? Then I'm not going to be able to support you. And it has nothing to do with race or background and everything to do with me wanting someone to give me something in exchange for my vote. I've been saying that from day one. Voting is transactional. You're supposed to get something for your vote. If you're not getting anything from these candidates, if you can't point to anything that they ran on that they've actually done, then why are you voting for them again? Like with Donald Trump, he had a list. Alveda King told us this story in person. One time we were on the campaign trail and Alveda King was sitting with a bunch of us on Black Voices for Trump. And she said, listen, I want to motivate y'all today because we're going to get out there and we're going to talk to people. She said, I want y'all to understand that this man, President Trump, who is my personal friend, he has a whiteboard in the White House and he took the items. There were 100 items on the website and he's been putting them up. About 30 of them fit on the whiteboard and he puts them up. And when he crosses them off, someone on his staff crossed it off the master list. And he himself, not a staffer, goes over and writes on the whiteboard the next item. And they're trying to accomplish all 100 of those items during this 4 years. And of course, if he doesn't make it, he'll try to accomplish the remainder of that list in the second term. And we were just sitting there blown away. And she said, so if he's going to keep a list and he's going to check it and he's going to actually work from that list on our behalf for free, because he's working for free, she said, the least we could do is go out and tell people the items on that list he has accomplished and why they should elect him again based on what he has done, as opposed to, you know, he's Donald Trump and he's a billionaire and he's my best friend. She said, no, those things are true, but that's not why he's running. And that's not why I'm telling people to vote for him. And we were just like, yes, ma'am, absolutely. And we got in our briefing books and learned those items and added them to our repertoire. I would be on television at 4:30 in the morning on Fox and Friends. I would be on with Maria Bartiromo at 5:30 a.m. Eastern on the campaign trail from my hotel before I would go get on the bus. And I would be reeling off those things. It's a real lesson in how business people operate. You know this. You have your own business. You are in charge of yourself.
Yes.
You need results.
Right.
You can't afford to pay people who don't give you results.
That's right.
President Trump has been that way for longer than you and I have been alive. I mean, he's pretty old. He's like, he's real. So that's the way he lives. And that's the way we need to live. We need to expect people to deliver something when we give them something. If you give them a check, they give you what you paid for. If you give them a vote, they give you what they ran on. That's the attitude we need to have. And it's not mean, but if it is mean, okay, so I'm mean, but I also expect results. So is that mean? Fine, I'll be mean then. But that's what it is. I'm not lowering that standard because Obama was elected and because Biden was elected. I'm using their elections as a barometer as to what I don't want in the future. Everybody should be doing that.
You said something that stood out to me. You talked about the matriarchy in the Democrat Party amongst those who want socialism and communism and how the men are neutered. Okay, when you consider statistically the number of people who support the Democrat Party amongst blacks, amongst whites, but in particular amongst blacks, you know, I think it's 92% of black women supported Kamala Harris. That says something, especially when the black community is a matriarchal dynamic, which it's impossible for a matriarchal dynamic to compete with a patriarchal dynamic. It doesn't work. And so why do you think there's so many colored or minority women who are beholden to this ideology, knowing what it does to the nuclear family ultimately?
Well, this is a problem that sometimes I've talked to Black women about this. Like it's not been often enough, in my opinion. But when I have been I'm like at the end of my rope, I just ask, why would you support a party that is against the nuclear family when you come from a family, you have a broken family in your background, but in your current life, you went to Christian school, graduated with honors, went to college, you own your own business now, your husband's a police officer, you have 3 children together. You have no children outside of your marriage. Why would you advocate for something different than what you are currently living, which is successful for you? And if you look at the women like Sunny Hostin, she's married with kids by only her husband. Joyanne Reed, who used to be the doyen of MSNBC, which is now MS Now, she's married to one man, has all of her children with him. They live together. They have a very traditional nuclear family. Same with a lot of these leftists. And if they've been divorced, they immediately remarry. And even if they don't make new children, make a new family, they still live in a very traditional way, because that is it's the formula for success.
Yes.
The success formula works whether you're a Christian or not. See, God is actually way better than we deserve, because all of the precepts in the Bible that are true, like if you are philanthropically minded and you donate, you give to the poor, if you give to the needy, if you give to those who are incarcerated, you're blessed. Whether you serve God or not. Look at the philanthropists who are so blessed, but they give like it's their full-time job. They can't keep the money. They have plenty, but they give so much away, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they are blessed. Look at their families, look at their children. They don't serve God, but they are blessed because they give to the needy and the poor. God said he will expand. He would give you more than you could hold if you give. So since these precepts are true, if you live in a traditional fashion, you are going to experience those blessings. You don't get the full measure of a relationship with God and the joy of living in the supernatural like us Christians do. We're living in the extra, but the overflow, the increase, that's what we have because we know Jesus.
Yes.
But if you just follow the blueprint and live God's way, you will be blessed. So I asked her about that, and she said, because it's not the only way. And that would be insulting to so many other sisters that I know who don't have what I have. What I have is in the minority. I said, but it doesn't have to be. There are plenty of men running around. They're making babies. All they have to do is put a ring on a finger and live in the same house with that family. Many of them spend more time with their children than you. I mean, it's shocking how much time Black men who are single fathers spend with their children in the modern era. They actually did a study on it. Black men spend a lot of time with their children now in the modern era. I'm talking not the gangbangers and the rough ones, but the regular Black men. Yeah. And so it can be done. You can get married. You can stay married. You can give it a go. So why would she advocate against that? Because of some perceived allegiance that she has to basically say, I'm not better than you. But I will say it. If you are 30 years old and you are unmarried, I am your elder because I have been married for 30 years. Are you living and you're out there giving your cookie away to every man who takes you out to dinner? Then yes, I am better than you because I am at home still to this day, caring for my husband, making him custom lemonade from scratch, cooking his meals 5 nights a week. Yes, I'm better than you. Am I saying that out of a place of pride? No. I humbly submit to you that I have had to tame my desires to control, to live the life that I want, to go live in New York City in a condo and be one of the Real Housewives or some nonsense that any wild hair idea that comes into my mind 50 times a day. None of those things have come true because I have subjugated those things to my life as a wife and a mom first. So I get to do other things like have a radio show, but it does not take priority over my husband and my family. So it is the reason that they're doing that is because they don't want to insult others. And they want to just say, it's easier to say, John, that's fine. That's just as good as that's just as good as being married. Living with somebody, that's just as good. Sleeping around until you're 35 and no man really wants you, and then you go get knocked up by somebody and have a baby and get child support from him while he's going to go marry a 28-year-old who still has, a fresh outlook, and you're going to be there with his child, and the 28-year-old is going to be looking down on you and like, oh gosh, here she comes again, and want to take your child from you so she can raise it properly. All that's going to be going on for you in your late 30s if you don't put the cookie back inside the cookie jar and keep it there until a man actually buys the cookie jar, and then he can have what's inside. That's what you got to do with yourself if you really want to live a life that is satisfying and pleasing to God, and because they're trying to please man. So that's really what's going on in the Black community. It's almost like a sorority, and nobody can do any better than anybody else. And so very few of the women are married, and the ones that are, it's like they've escaped. And everybody else is kind of sitting there, and it's like, well, you better not say anything against what we're doing. You better not say anything against being a professional aunt, no kids, because this is the life that all the married women want. We don't want that life. We don't want to be a professional aunt, no kids. Well, sure, if that's your calling, if you're called to be single, excellent. But most women are not called to be single. Most women are called to be married to the men who are out there who are called to be married to the women. What is going on? The destruction that the Bible speaks about when it says that the devil comes to lie, steal, kill, and destroy. He lies to women and tells them they're better off alone, getting an MBA in their 20s. He kills their desire for what's natural, babies. How do you get babies? You marry. A man finds a wife, you marry, and then you get babies out of it. That's right. As the woman. And then he kills that line, that future line, that desire. He destroys the image of womanhood and turns it into these twerking females and everybody just, having sex with everybody else and acting like animals, and then wondering why everybody's depressed and suicidal and on antidepressants. And even more importantly, why the women feel like they need a government that's so strong that they can't even make a social media post. Like in Germany, they want to arrest thousands of people for making social media posts, but the rapists are running around wild and free. So you have all of those things are the epitome of the lie, kill, steal, and destroy that the devil comes to do. And God said he sent Jesus so that you could have life and have it more abundantly. And there is nothing more abundant than knowing that I don't have to do these jobs. I don't have to have these jobs. I do because I want to, but I don't have to. I can get up in the morning and have coffee and cook all day and clean, and my husband will come home. He will take care of me. If all these things go away, I'm still living here. I'm still getting up and making coffee. I'm cleaning this place. He's going to have dinner when he gets home. I'm driving a new car, whatever. That's the calling that God has given to me as a wife. That's my kind of like birthright as a wife with the husband that I have, that God gave to me, that I prayed for. So this is the thing that they want to take away from us, our right as women to be kept and cared for and loved. The right that we have to be adored and protected as women, not as children, as women, the rights that we have in our femininity. The devil doesn't want us to know about that or to own it or claim it or live in it or walk in it. And he has taken that from millions of women. And so therefore they need that still. The need doesn't go away. So they look to the government to do it.
That's right.
And we don't need that. The government is a harsh taskmaster. And it's no good at doing anything but national defense and roads. Look around. What is the government good at? They're good at sending B-52s and dropping bombs, GBU-57s, 500 feet underground and blowing up and hitting refrigerator door-sized targets. Come on. You want some JP8 in the morning? You want to have a rush? Oh, my gosh, John, the air show was here. Me and my daughter were in the AT&T store getting the phone. I hear the jet streaming overhead. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's an F-35 or it's an F-16. I run to the door. I get my phone out. I look up and there is a jet banked at 90 degrees, buzzing the super center that we're in. We're in a little shopping plaza.
Right.
So I look up and I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, what is going on? Then I remember, the air show. So they were practicing for the air show. So I step out a little bit further and it's just a row of people standing out there, and the F-16, I'm not sure if it was an F-16, but it was a Blue Angels. And they go down far out of my view at low level and then go straight up into the sky and then curve around and come back and buzz us again. And one plane takes off to the left and the other three turn 90 degrees and bank right. And you can feel the jets like rumbling through, the engine is rumbling. You feel like you could reach up and touch it, like the exhaust might burn you. And I went back inside. I was almost like, it's like you've been through an earthquake or something. and I sat down and he was like, wow, you're really interested in that. I said, I used to be in the Air Force and my office was on the flight line. I didn't fly or anything, but I was support. And we would sit in the morning and drink our coffee and, we'd be like shaking because the jets would be taking off one after another. We'd try to be out there by 7:30. And he was like, he said, I said, that just brought back all these memories. I can smell it's now JP4, but you can smell that jet fuel and you can feel that engine. And that is the excitement of being a Christian. I compare it in the same manner. Being a Christian is like being on the flight line and getting to interact with the pilots. And for some of us, being the pilots, the pastors, I feel like the pastors are the pilots. And so that's you. You're up there flying and we're down on the ground rooting you on and we're doing all of our stuff to make sure jets can go up and come down. And I don't, as a Christian, I don't understand why anybody would not want that, but that's because you're deceived into thinking that it's not good. And so that's our job, is to tell people how good it is and to make sure they know that it's not something special, that, you have a beautiful wife and a lovely family. But it's not that God is like, well, I'm going to give this to John and I'm going to give it to Stacy, but I'm not going to give it to anybody else because these two are my special too. I still think I'm one of his specials, but it's not that he's giving me this because he's not going to give it to anybody else. Anybody can have it. You repent for giving out your cookie to everybody. You go into celibacy, you set yourself apart, you pray and ask God's forgiveness, and then he sends you a husband. I've seen it happen a million times, and it can happen to any person, any man or any woman who wants the the life that we're talking about, it can happen to them as well. So, this isn't me sitting over here going, well, I'm better than you and you can't have what I have. Of course you can have it. God will give it to you immediately upon you saying he's responsive to the cry of his children. He'll give it to you as well.
Right. So powerful. And really what you're getting at is when a soul, be it male or female, finds God and they submit to him first, before a spouse, before a husband, before a wife, but to God, it sets you up for marital success. It does. And so that's one of the things that's absent.
He starts blessing you. So it might not be marriage. Maybe you're already married. Maybe you need something else in your life. Maybe you want a child. Whatever it is, he's gonna bless you.
Indeed. Even on the topic of the black scent, the accent of AOC, you are going viral right now because you picked up your pen and started writing. Okay. And people are talking about you. I saw this viral New York Post article that you wrote recently. Black English, black kids don't need to be taught a separate language in California. Written by the one and only Stacy. Washington. A nonprofit called the Black English Language Work Group is trying to normalize bad English for black children specifically, as if educational outcomes weren't abysmal enough. The group has partnered with other organizations to ensure that when children mispronounce words or use language incorrectly, they are not told how to speak properly. Stacy, Washington, walk me through this article and why you picked up your pen to write this article.
So everybody knows, I've said it a million times, I used to be on school board. It was like I always say it was like a fluke, but it was the will of God for me to do that because it wasn't my background or anything that commended me to do what I ended up doing, which was serving on the school board. But because of that time and the work that I did before that, I actually was working on a volunteer committee, the diversity committee. It was supposed to be about how to make the school more friendly to diverse students. But what we did was me and two other black moms took that committee over and made it all about student achievement. So we went over test scores because the principal, that's how God puts people together. The principal was obsessed with like data. And she'd bring us a stack of like reports and we could go through it and see month by month how the kids were doing. And she'd say, oh, you can tell these were the holiday months because some of the scores went down during those months, but those are just snapshots. We look at the entirety of the performance over the year. And so we learned from her and she learned from us. And we very rarely spoke about anything having to do with diversity. And so we started after school program to help the kids with math because some of them just weren't doing as well with math. But it wasn't because they didn't have the ability. They just thought math was scary. So we had them do math is fun after school. And it was so popular. Parents whose kids were doing well in math wanted their kids to go just so they wouldn't be left out. It was just unbelievable. So with that in mind, I saw that they're doing this. It's called Black American English. So what'll happen is you'll have Black kids. If they get their way, Black kids will speak Black American English, and they'll grow up all through life never having their English corrected. And when they get into adulthood, they'll speak this Black American English, which, as we all know, plenty of people, not just Black people, speak bad English. I mean, If you go to the Appalachians, you can't understand anything anybody's saying. They have heavy accents. They don't speak proper English. So there are different pockets of this. But specifically for Black Americans, they want to make it the norm, call it Black American English. And what I'm pointing out is not only is this like a lie from the pit of hell that most Black Americans who are educated would be against, but it also is a misfocus of the energy. These nonprofits are spending millions of dollars on this instead of working on getting the 4 out of 5 children in California, because this is happening in California. 4 out of 5 children in California can't do math, or actually math is 4 out of 5. For English, it's 3 out of 5. Mm-hmm. So terrible numbers. They can't do math or read on grade level, John. So why aren't they working on that? Why doesn't the Black work group work on making sure Black kids can read? So that's why I wrote the article.
Well, I appreciate you for doing so, because I guess they used to call it Ebonics.
Right.
And so now the new term is Black English. And
Black American English.
Wow. It makes no sense. And then I guess sooner or later people will be upset because it's Black American English. Maybe it should be Black African English. It'll go off the rails.
It will. You're exactly on track, because that's what they'll be focused on. Is what it's called,
right?
Instead of the impact, which is
that's it.
You know, when you speak English, right? When you speak English well, you know this. You speak English well. When you do, it's so rare in Black America that white people will go, oh. Like, I've actually had people react that way to me. They look at me, they think I'm some single mom. Then I open my mouth, they realize, oh, she speaks proper English. And then, you know, I have a ring. I have 2 rings on my finger. I'm married. Oh, and then they just go into being normal. They know they're not going to have a hard time with me. And I'm like, well, you might have a hard time with me, but it's probably because you're a leftist, not because I can't speak English. But, you know, let's get into this. So this is a problem that we have to, as Black Americans, we have to stand up and say, hey, Democrats, no, thank you. Because it's always the Democrats trying to do this stuff to us. The Republicans never try this drama on Black Americans. It's only the Democrats who do this.
Or they'll just say, Stacy is just so articulate. You know, she has a great command of the English language, something of that effect. So
they do say that, but I actually do have a great command of the English language, because I collect dictionaries. My oldest one is from 1823. And I used to, as a child, read the dictionary for fun, not as punishment, but as fun.
Right.
Because I would bring a word out at dinner and my dad would say, I've never heard you use that word before. Do you know what it means? And I would tell him what it meant. And he would say, oh, that just thrills me. That's what he'd say. That just thrills me. And then later he would sometimes slip me some money, you know, because dads are good like that. He would slip me money for reading the dictionary on my own. So yeah, I really do have a command of the English language, but anybody can. It's free.
Yes. You wrote in this article, you said, dig into the data and you see where Black children need correction and remedial efforts far more than any other group. With scores that should drive firings and reform in every public school building in the state. Just 33% of Black children are proficient or advanced in English and 20% in math.
Yeah. Well, that's 2 out of 3. Yeah. The numbers are abysmal. And in anything else, just change those, the parameters around those numbers. Say this company only provides 33% of its customers with the products that they order. Just think about what would happen to that company. They'd already be out of business.
Right.
Because the free market does not tolerate that. People get online and go viral for you not doing what you're supposed to do. I was trying to think of a way I could go viral for my dislike of self-checkouts. How when I go to Home Depot, they have a lady there or a man who checks me out. If I'm buying wood, if I'm buying plants, no matter what I'm buying, they do it. If I go to Lowe's, there's a boy who looks like he's 12 years old with curly hair, and he's standing over there just looking at me. And if I come out, if I say, I don't understand how to check out this piece of wood, he'll say, oh, just scan it and it'll walk you through it on the computer. In other words, I'm not coming over there. So I'm like, well, I don't need to go to Lowe's anymore because they want me to work for them. And Home Depot will actually give me my veterans discount and check me out. So I guess I'm going to Home Depot. Because my husband was like, I thought you liked Lowe's. I was like, not anymore. I can't do retail checkout. I'm too old for that. I've done that already. I did that when I was a teenager. I worked in retail. Now I pay for my things and I want to pay for my items. I want somebody to check me out. You're right about that when we say that they should be fired, we used to have that standard. It used to be that if you did a bad job as a teacher, you would have to go find something else to do. Parents would not tolerate you teaching their kids. Now the kids are just going to school. They can't read. They can't do math. There was another story. I just saw this. And I was thinking about our chat today, John. This is another story. Those statistics are for California. This one is from Fortune magazine under economy and education. It says 70% of fourth graders aren't reading proficiently, report finds one of several areas where education is failing America's kids. And the only thing I would say about that to add to that headline is parents are failing America's kids because parents, your mom is supposed to teach you how to read, your mom or your dad. They're supposed to speak 50,000 words to you by the time you reach preschool. Kindergarten, I'll give you kindergarten. Maybe you don't talk as fast or as often as I do, but 50,000 words spoken to a child by the time they're in kindergarten.
Wow.
And they should know their sight words.
Yes.
And recognize numbers to 100.
Color shapes.
Be able to count color shapes. If your child is precocious, you can show them what a comma is. You can say, if you see the word always, there's always a comma after it. That's a trick. Always has a comma after it. And then you show them what a comma is. the thing is, the children will learn. They're sponges. They learned all the Backyardigans songs. When my kids were small, they knew every lyric to the Backyardigans. My voicemail is my son at the age of like 6 or 7 doing the Lego Racers commercial in the backseat of our minivan. I turned around and recorded him on the phone because he knew every word of the commercial. Kids are like sponges. They can memorize anything. They can memorize scripture. Is your child uncooperative? Is your child going through a rough patch? Why are you not reading a scripture with them every night at bed? Right before bed, you read the scripture together and you say, let's memorize this. And they read it and you read it. And every night you read it together right before bed. And you put it up on a little bulletin board at their level in their bedroom or in the hallway. And by the end of the week, before the end of the week, they will have memorized that one verse. And they'll be asking you, what's the next verse? Because that's the way kids are. What's the next verse that we're going to memorize? And that's what we did with the kids, because I thought they're so close together and I'm outnumbered and I want them to be reasonable and I want them to be, responsive to me, slow to anger, quick to obey. Mm-hmm. How do I do that? And one of the ladies we used to go to black church where some of the women wore nursing outfits, and she would say, scripture civilizes children. It's the only thing that does it, that and the belt. And I was like, ooh, the belt. Oh my gosh. Well, she was right. She was right. You don't spank your kids all through their childhood, but when they're very small, a little bit of that really goes a long way. And helping them to memorize scripture.
That's so
and
good.
It changes them, yes. And it changes you.
Yes, indeed. There's this superintendent in Spotsylvania County, Dr. Clint M. Mitchell. He is the superintendent of Spotsylvania County Public Schools in Virginia, the district's first Black superintendent in its history. He had some choice comments to say about diversifying his staff. Take a look at this.
My job, which I have challenged HR about, is making sure that we hire the right people, but most importantly, we diversify our staff to represent the kids that we have in our schools. Because I will tell you, I was the one kid who went to school, and when I went to school, I didn't have an African American teacher until I got to college, right? But it didn't mean that I could be successful because I didn't have an African American teacher. But that's important for kids.
All right, so Stacy, a school superintendent says he wants to focus on hiring more Black teachers in a district where less than 2% of superintendents statewide are Black. Is that a legitimate diversity goal, or does it cross into something else?
No, it sounds like quota hiring to me, and we would not put up with that if they were quota hiring white people. So why should we do it? Because he wants to do it for Black people. The other thing is, what about the student performance in Spotsylvania? Yeah. What's the student performance like? That's the first question that parents ask when their realtor says, "I found you a place," and it's below your price range. The first thing parents ask is, oh, if it's less than my price range, what's the schools like? But what are the schools like? Because you want to know if the schools are good. Even if your kids are going to go to private school, you want to know if the schools are good because that's tied to your home's value. The better the schools, the better the value of the home. So if the schools are worried about hiring people based on how much permanent tan they have, then the kids must all be scoring proficient or advanced. They must all be in the top. They must be in the top 10% of schools in the nation, at the top 1%, because top 10% isn't saying much anymore with the scores being so low across the board. Only 49% of American kids across the nation are scoring proficient or advanced on their tests in English and math. So, you're basically rolling the dice and saying, I'm going to send my kid to this building for 8 hours a day. Only 4.5 hours of those hours will be instructional time. Out of that 4.5 hours, the teachers are going to fill some of that up with LGBT, strapping down the chest, putting condoms on bananas, teaching them about Islam. By the time you leave that, there's a little bit of time for math, and that's all about he, she, zir, them, 50 genders, pronouns in math. So, when does your child get to what is basically calculus for fifth graders? People don't even know that's a thing. They have a math curriculum that was for fifth graders way back in the day, 50 years ago, and it still exists. And you can take it and teach it to your child over the summer, and it gives them the foundation so that they'll be able to sail right through algebra 1 and 2 and make it through trigonometry and eventually, hopefully, take statics in high school, which means they will be well prepared for college or university, or they'll join the military. They'll score well on the ASVAB. If they're going to go into an apprenticeship, they'll be the one electrician on the team who can also basically calculate how much copper do we need? How much this do we need? They'll be able to calculate in their head and do it. And everybody else will be like, whoa, how'd you do that? I took statics. I took real math in high school, and I'm ready. I could take calculus in college. I could take calculus in high school. You can take calculus 1 and 2 in high school if you want to. You can also send your child dual enrolled to college, have them go to the community college and get college credit while they're in high school. This is something you can do in some school districts. A lot of private schools are doing it. And if you're homeschooling them, it's a piece of cake. So, like what even was this guy talking about, and why did he have that accent? I'm tempted to ask if he's even in the country legally. And I'm not trying to be that person today on the show, but here I am. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, it makes no sense, because he betrays his own argument by saying that I didn't have a white teacher until college. But you're now a superintendent in a position where there's only been one black superintendent in that area, but you're now talking about, more importantly, hiring more black or minority staff. I mean, it makes no sense. It says
he did well. He
did.
didn't have it, and he did well. So
right,
and apparently, because you have to be a PhD to be a superintendent. So he has a PhD, and he didn't have his first black teacher until he was in college. So sounds like a formula for me. Let's stop looking at the race of the teachers, and let's look at the curriculum that they're teaching and how many children are able to navigate that curriculum with success when measured by their standardized tests. And don't give me that nonsense about how minority kids can't test well. That's not true. That's a fiction. That somehow the tests are geared towards white people. No, they're geared towards American culture. Your kid is in America. They're an American. They should be able to pass these tests. Get a tutor. Get them into Kumon. Do something with your child. Work with them yourself. I can never forget the summer my husband worked with our daughter on math. And she is just, I just told him, I said, I'm no good at math. I'm comms. I'm communications. I'm English. I've taught them how to read and spell. You got to tackle this math. He was like, show it to me. I showed him the packet. He was like, oh, this is easy. This will be fun. They worked through it over the summer. She came back. Her teacher at the first quarter took me aside in the hallway and said, what did you do with her this summer? And I was like, well, we did this curriculum that one of the school board members gave to me that her daughter did. It's really old. It's like not taught in schools anymore. She was like, it's amazing the difference in her. The confidence that she has around math is so good. She said, I think she's going to be able to do some great things with it. And she's the one who's in medical school now. Wow. So I'm telling you, won't God do it?
Yes, he will.
It's not anything. You certainly can't say she got that math ability from me. Okay. She did not. She got it. The Lord blessed her. And I believe he blesses us as parents when we take that extra time and say, over the summer, of course, she swam and she took horseback riding lessons in the little country place. We did all kinds of stuff for the summer, but we also did the summer reading program. They read for 20 minutes a day. Most days they read more than that, but 20 minutes a day minimum so they could get ice cream cones. And she did that math thing with my husband. And the younger one didn't do that. He didn't do, every kid didn't get the same experience, but they're not the same person. And so I just say to you, like, what is it that you think that seems kind of impossible for me? For me, it was my children doing calculus because I am no good at math. So who is big enough to make that happen? Not me, but God can do it. So I just prayed over them. I said, Lord, what can I do to make them love math and not be afraid of it? He gave me all kinds of ideas, put people in my life. How would I meet this woman other than I was serving on school board? How did I get on school board? I don't even have a bachelor's. How did I get on there? God put me there. He was answering my prayers. So this is the life, the supernatural life that we get to lead as Christians. Get in here. If you don't have this, get in here. You want some of this Christianity. You want all of it, actually. You want the full blown package. You want to get the Jesus is my savior package. Get in, get some of this.
I agree. We've talked about a lot here, from AOC's black scent to Black American English, to the first black superintendent of Spotsylvania, wanting to hire more black people. And now this same guy, Dr. Clint Mitchell, says something in this next video as we prepare to close that's really going to knock your socks off. Take a look at this right here. Watch.
They may leave our school division. Implementing such a program would completely negate the work that we have done over the last 18 months plus in the school division on teacher retention.
All right, hold it right here.
I give you the data.
So he's talking about drug testing teachers. He doesn't want to do that because it's going to hurt the retention rate. Oh boy, watch.
Just for our recruitment fair this past week, I guarantee you that our neighbors, whether it's Stafford, Fredericksburg City, Caroline, Louisa, Orange County, Culpeper, Prince William, they're looking for you to implement such a policy. Because here's what's going to happen. You think our retention numbers are what it is? Drones of people are going to look the school division. And you think we have a problem hiring and retaining people and filling positions? You'll have vacancies because no one will want to work here. The data don't support it. It is not my decision, it's the board decision. But from the way I stand, I think that's a slippery slope. And I certainly hope the board don't take any steps to entertain, while I understand the concerns of implementing a drug testing program based on the fact that we have 2 positive tests in almost a school year. And if I go back to data, based on the fact that we had 1 or 2 incidents, we are 6,000 plus employee division. We're the largest employer in Spotsylvania County, the largest. You are going to have incidents that occur. The question is, how do we handle it, and how do we go and put systems in place to support people that are struggling? As Mr. DeBella mentioned, it is not about putting systems that is going to go ahead and preventing people from working in our school district.
All right. So here we go. A teacher overdosed on fentanyl in her own classroom, Stacy, 2 years ago. And this superintendent is still fighting against drug testing new hires. What does that say about where this district is headed?
They're headed down the trash can under his leadership. I was thinking to myself, who is this thug they have hired in to be the superintendent? Because he's basically saying that there's a criminal element to the teacher pool that they're hiring from. And if they drug test, then the criminal element won't apply for jobs and will get hired. And it's not like these people are watching dogs, right? This isn't a PetSmart or a boarding kennel. They have human children under their care. What if one of the kids had gone up to this teacher who's overdosing on fentanyl and gotten some of that on their skin and overdosed as well? You know, because that's fentanyl. The danger of it is multifaceted. A child died at a vacation rental. There had been fentanyl in the vacation rental. It wasn't properly cleaned. They show up, the mom and 3 or 4 children, the dad, they're walking around the way we do. You go to your rental. Everybody runs around to look at it because you're going to stay there for a week and you're so excited. And the little 2-year-old just went to the bunk bed and just, kind of bounced on the bunk bed, turned over. The fentanyl was on her skin. Lips turned blue. She overdoses right on the spot. The parents are busy running around talking to the other kids. And then the mom goes looking for the little one and she's on the bed. Her lips are blue. By the time they got there, it was too late. This is their baby, 2 years old, that she's dead. And it's because of fentanyl. So I'm the opposite. Everybody gets tested. We have retroactive drug testing on every teacher, every staff member. The custodian is getting, you're in this cup.
That's
Here's
right.
your cup. Get it in this cup.
It better be warm too.
Everybody is getting tested.
Right.
And then every new hire is getting tested. And if you fail the drug test, it's an automatic firing because children, right? You're not working at a car dealership. You're working with children. People's children are there. So we used to be a real country. You rape somebody's child, the dad and 2 of his friends will come find you. And that was really the end of you, right? They beat you to the end of you would never do it again. Right. You go around molesting children, we just wouldn't see you again. The dads would take care of it. Nowadays, you got people overdosing in the school and the parents didn't automatically say, we can't bring our kids back into this room until it has been sterilized because obviously the teacher was using drugs at school and overdosed. But it's because everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants, I can't say anything. People might get upset. People might think I'm mean. People might think that I might be unlikable. you know what? You're already unlikable. There's already a few people who don't like you. You might as well just live your life. You know, just live for God,
Yes.
live for the truth, live for those. God gave you children. I'm sorry, excuse me. He gave you children. You know how many childless couples are out there desperate for a child, and he gave you a child and you're not even strong enough to go tell the teacher, I'm sorry, what's going on in this building? My child won't be back until that room is sterilized. I'll be teaching her at home. And that's me and all of the other 18 kids in this class. What do you mean? We have technology. We made a little small group on X.com, and we've been communicating. We're on Facebook. We're communicating. We've decided we're not bringing our kids back into this building until it's been sterilized. Thank you. Let your superintendent know, the one with the accent. Tell him we want drug testing.
Him.
Yeah.
The one that sounds like he's from Jamaica. Tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him I said
The
it.
school board is obviously not good. The school board hired him. John, the school board hired him, and now he's like, oh, we can't drug test. I'd be like, we drug testing you first because we don't understand your accent.
You know what? I need to go to that school board meeting. Like, really.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I need to go to Spotsylvania.
John, Pastor John, you've been called forward.
Yes, I'm going. I'm going to put on my Jamaican accent too when I go there.
Or you could do the same. You got to yelling at church a few Sundays ago. I was there, and I was like, my husband and I looked at each other. We just smiled, and I was like, yes, here it comes, because you got to do it a little bit. Your voices were elevated,
right?
And my daughter said, has he been here before? I said, yeah, but I'm not sure if you were here. You might have been in college. She said, wow. She said, wow. I said, I know he's not playing. Just hold on a second. He's about to go in. And you sure did. You went all the way. So go on over there, John. This is something you do well. You actually will go tell them the truth to their face. He needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And also, is his immigration status on point? Because remember the guy in LA school?
Stop it, Stacy.
LA schools? He was not a citizen. He was the superintendent of Los Angeles County Schools.
Yeah, that's true. So true.
I'm sorry, but I just want to know if he's a citizen.
I'll go and let you know. We'll do a segment on it.
I'll come back because I want to hear, and I want clips. I know you do video.
Right.
Please don't sleep on the video on this one because he deserves to be called out. You have to go and tell him.
Right.
He doesn't even want to drug test the teachers, man.
That's horrible. Stacy, This has been a joy once again having you on Disturbing the Peace. You always come with charisma, charm, and just a keen sense of the word of God. Thank you for that. That is your advantage. Don't lose that.
I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. Pray for me. You know, it's a difficult time with the rearing up of socialism, and people they're lost and they're hurting, but they don't want the prescription. They don't want Jesus, but they need him. And so we got to keep on telling. We can't stop. We have to keep telling.
Yes, indeed. God bless you. I'll have you back on soon. Take care.
Thank you. See you soon.
You got it. Bye-bye. Hey, my friends, that's the one and only Stacy Washington. It's always a blessing to have her on Disturbing the Peace. Let me know below in the comments section. Are we right? Or are we wrong? Or are we weak? Or are we strong? Let us know, okay? And then do me a big favor. Go to my YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Set your notifications so you know when we're going live. And then go to the audio platform, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and give me a 5-star review. God bless you, and God bless America. Take care.